Hello, everyone. Welcome to Grind Season. This is Anthony Sain. I am one of the co-hosts of the Grind Season podcast. Here with my good friend Jason Smith. Jason Smith, what it do, man?
Man, I'm trying to find out why I don't have the same background as you.
Hey,
now
you can't do everything I gotta do, Jason Smith. I have a ghetto degree in graphic design. You know, I can put
man, it looks like you are on a black comedy club stage. That's what it looks like.
No. Coming to the stage.
Man, that looks fantastic. You're gonna have to
appreciate you, bro.
You're gonna have to let me in on that next week.
Yeah, next time I'm gonna have you fired up, man.
All right, they don't want to see that. That's a good look.
I'm yours customized. I'm yours customized with Jason Smith on your name and mine is saying Anthony Sain. Do it like that. I'm gonna have your Twitter handle and all that on there, man. Free pub for the people, man.
Man, I appreciate you, bro. That looks good, man. Saying you're looking good. We're feeling good. Grizzlies are rolling. Grizzlies are rolling.
Grizzlies are rolling for sure. That is a definite on that.
Okay.
Of course, we are here for a grind season. This is episode 40, I believe, man. Hey, we almost at 50, bro. We'll be at 50 probably before the playoffs start, for sure.
Aging.
Yeah.
Experience.
Coming like some vets in the game. Getting more positive feedback from you guys. Had somebody reach out to me today, actually, saying they really enjoy the video shows that we do on YouTube. I'm surprised to hear that. People are saying, man, I use y'all to replace watching the Talking Heads shows. Y'all are my Talking Heads. I ain't got to watch Stephen A. Smith I ain't got to watch, whoever, Shannon Sharp or whoever. So I watch you guys. So I'm like, all right, man, that's what's up, man. I appreciate that. So shout out to you guys who check in, who are listening to us, subscribing, watching us on YouTube. We appreciate it, guys. Any comments, anything that you guys are doing, just shoot them in the comments. Share the videos. We appreciate that. Busy show today. The Grizzlies have played 2 games since the last time we played. As you mentioned, we have won 6 straight. Had a blowout win over the Houston Rockets, as well as a tight win on the road against the Atlanta Hawks. We will talk about that today and more. We'll also talk about, are the Grizzlies fine in the West? Kind of making some hay, man, winning some games. You know what I mean? Looking like solidly in the number 2 seed. Jaren Ja and Desmond Dane are really cooking. They're doing well. So we're going to see how that all works out. We're going to talk about that, just kind of see where we are in the West, and also some playoff possibilities to see the teams we could possibly be up against if we're in the 2nd or the 3rd seed. And, of course, we will wrap up the show with the segment you guys know and love, Who Brought the SZNing? I think this one is going to be a fun one today. I have a first-time inductee, first-time bringing seasoning to the show for this particular person. So
I got a feeling I know who it is. Son.
Yeah, for sure, man. You might be inviting them to the barbecue, maybe that's
so.
Maybe that's a teaser. But yeah, it's gonna be a good show today. I'm looking forward to it. Glad you guys are here with us. And I didn't mention before we go on, Jason Smith, of course, is the co-host of the Jason and John Show on 92.9 ESPN Audacy station. Follow him on Twitter at
Jason Smith 929.
Yeah, there it is. Follow me on Twitter at Saint Asylum. I, of course, am the tribal chief of Grizz Twitter, as confirmed by the Bing AI app. If you ask the Bing AI app, who is the tribal chief of Grizz Twitter, it will tell you that it is me, Anthony Sain.
Only one.
Only one. The Grizzlies are preparing to take on the Orlando Magic back at home on tomorrow night or Tuesday, whenever you guys listen to the podcast. Today, if you listen on Tuesday, whatever. But before that, we will talk about the games that happened since the last time we played. Blowout victory against the Houston Rockets, highlighted, of course, by Luke Kennard going crazy, making 10 3-pointers in the game. The game before that, which was John Morant's debut, much closer game, came down to Jaren Jackson Jr. putting the game away in the final moments. But you got that game against Houston. The second game, which was a much easier victory, and then you had a victory on the road against Atlanta. I was supposed to be at that game, but I changed my mind kind of towards the last moments on that. According to my finances, Jason Smith, Audacy ain't flying the brother out there, nor reimbursing the brother for gas. So I looked at my expenses. I was like, nah, I'm just gonna go and stay at the house. I'm kind of upset, man, because I haven't made any road trips at all this year. I usually try to get out for at least a couple of games per year. I haven't done any this year. And got a new car. When I had a regular car, I was in the road. Now I got a new car. I ain't been nowhere. But, yeah, I'll see if I can change that for sure. What are your thoughts on the last 2 games that you saw, especially what we saw from Luke Kennard in the game against Houston and last night? We can't sneeze on the 4 3-pointers he made last night against Atlanta off the bench. So what are your thoughts about the last 2 games since we've done the show.
4 3-pointers in that game against Atlanta, 14 points. So 44 points in the 2 games he's given you. And if you look at the numbers, saying frankly, it's been outstanding. Over 10 points per game now off the bench. He's super comfortable, up well over 50% shooting from 3. And it's really sort of been the answer to all our prayers here for a while, just in the sense that does he fix every problem? No, Sain, but talking about it on the show today, man. How many games did we see the Grizzlies go through a rotation of wing after wing who could not knock down open shots, say, set aside Desmond Dane? Like, they needed anything that could do it, and Kennard's come in and not just filled the role, but done it more than admirably. It's, the question was always could he stay on the floor? Well, the Grizzlies have done enough defensively that you've been able to, and yeah, and an easy one against the Rockets, okay, he goes off 30, and it's great. It's franchise record for threes with the 10 and everything else. Right. But I thought obviously the more important victory for the team since we last spoke was on Sunday, the game you mentioned against the Hawks, a closer game, the 14 on the bench and a 4-point game. Again, the fact that he's giving that on the road against a team that's right at 500, you hadn't done much against those teams on the road this season. So the more important victory there, and I thought just as important in terms of performances, getting that 14 from there. That's been, again, what the Grizzlies are doing. Desmond Dane, I thought on Sunday was fantastic. There's Ja Morant being back in the starting lineup to talk about a lot from the team standpoint, but Luke Kennard filling that shooting need, and maybe in doing so, creating we realize the spacing's better than everything else when he can play. It's helped them out tremendously on an offense that's now out of the low teens and back up to number 11 in the NBA. Luke Kennard's had a lot to do with it, just being able to knock down open shots. No question. For sure.
He's definitely making teams have to guard the perimeter better and opening up lanes for everybody. Tyus Jones, your bigs.
Makes it easy.
Everybody's eating just because Luke Kennard is able to, at least cause that threat of knocking down shots. And it's been phenomenal to see, man. Like, we've kind of gotten greedy as a fan base, because I remember the days when we begged for just one guy that could shoot threes. I remember getting excited about Vince Carter coming to the team because he can make threes.
He can make a long-range shot.
And now we literally have 2 of the best three-point shooters in the entire
2 of the best in the league.
Yeah.
It's like night and day difference, it feels like.
Well, we've got 2 of them. 2 of them things, you know what I mean, for sure. So it's a good feeling for sure. Ja Morant switched over to the starting lineup, returned back to the starting lineup in the game last night against the Hawks. That Hawks team, I do not understand why that team – those dudes really must not like each other, man. If you just look at talent, that team has 2 All-Stars in your backcourt. We talked about at the beginning of the season. It's just the best backcourt in the NBA, just off of the merits of having 2 All-Stars.
Just the names.
With Trae Young and DeJounte Murray.
They are not together at all.
It's just like, it has to be like they have shooting off the bench and on the bench. You picked up Sadiq Bey. You got 2 athletic bigs. Clint Capella is still relatively young. I don't even know if he's 30 yet. That team should be – you got Hunter, DeAndre Hunter, who's a nice 3-and-D wing, or at least he's a great defender, if nothing else. I do not understand why that team is not better than that, man. And you went out and you got a top-level guard in DeJounte Murray who can defend as well. He didn't really do much of anything yesterday. And you thought all the talk this summer was DeJounte Murray was probably going to be on the ball. How could Trae Young play off of the ball? I saw Trae Young still doing Trae Young stuff, and at the end of the game, he pulls up from 30. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, he gave us the game in that moment. You guys know I hate Trae Young. This is a much more G-rated version of the last time I talked about Trae Young. It was exciting to pull out that win yesterday.
You see him throw the ball at that ref the other day too.
Yeah, man, it's wild stuff, man. That team,
it ain't. Yeah, it's nasty. And that not to I didn't mean to interrupt you, but just to add to the point about just not liking dude, man. You haven't done enough to even think anybody cares enough about your little attitude at a call or whatever else. Yeah, there's so much. It's such a prima donna thing with dude. Yeah.
I'm like, bro, the type of calls you get away with, the stuff that they call for you, and you're how are you leading the league in text, man? It's crazy, bro. I had fun with my friend Avery Braxton.
League? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he's up there. He's got if he's one tech away from getting suspended from a game. He's up there with Dylan and Draymond.
Okay, he's up there with the leaders. Yeah, okay. I didn't really. He shouldn't be anywhere. That's unbelievable, man.
Yeah, for what he gets. I had fun with my good friend Avery Braxton from ABC 24. You know, he's from Atlanta. I came in talking some good shit to him when I walked into the studio yesterday to cut our segment for 901 Sports XL. Had fun with him. But yeah, man, it was good to see the Grizzlies pick up that road win, like you said, which have been kind of running away from us. So we
especially from decent teams, especially.
Yeah, exactly. And
the last thing on Atlanta said that coaching change and all that, there's going to be pull, and so, you know, as Quinn tries to get reins and transitions from that, that's the other thing that doesn't help that whole mix is I don't know, it adds to how nasty it all is. Yeah.
And that Trae Young core they fired 2 coaches mid-season. You know what I mean? And he's been there 5 years? It's wild, man. I don't understand that thing.
I'm with you.
Desmond Dane, though, last night, 25 points. Not sure how many threes he had. Maybe 3 or 4 3-pointers. I can't remember.
3 of 6.
Yeah, he's looking like playoff Desmond Dane looked last year. Playing downhill, getting to the basket.
That's the key.
The mid-range shot, scoring from all levels, knocking down threes. I'm throwing this out to you, Jason Smith. Is Desmond Dane back?
I think he is. I think the Desmond Dane that was headed for All-Star consideration before the injury is back. Yes, that Desmond Dane. It's a different level. His ability, you said the key. His ability now to expand his game, to be able to get to the hole, and I mean sometimes on really good defenders. Like that's the difference. It felt like, you know, when he first started with this, maybe you could catch a couple of guys, you know, slipping. But he's going to the hole now on good defenders and managing to find a way to get that angle. And you know, I don't know if it's Pete or Brevin. I talked about it. They coined it downhill Dez. Man, when he's getting that, it unlocks everything else about his game. It really has, and it opens things up even more. But specifically for him, man, that's the part of it that stands out to me. It's the way he's exploding to the basket and finishing. Remember, the short arms were supposed to be something that were going to be held against him for his career. You know, when you add this ability to get to the basket and finish over longer guys,
right? If
this stays consistent, saying he's headed for the All-Star game within the next year or two. Like he was already headed there, just needs to be consistent. He's a different player. He is so much tougher to guard when he is getting downhill. Yeah. You already know about the three-point ability.
Yeah, for sure. Desmond Dane had a huge game, kind of put the game away during certain moments yesterday against the Hawks. Again, we talked about a big game against the Hawks team, picking up those 2 wins, giving yourself separation from the Sacramento Kings. Just double checking the standings. I think we're like 2.5 games ahead of them now, if I'm not mistaken.
It's two. It's still 2.
Okay, you're 2 games ahead of them. Just a handful of games left to go. You figure they can probably hold on to that, especially looking at how soft our schedule is the remainder of the way. Another player I would love to talk about over the last 2 games is Xavier Tillman, a player that I came in early in the game yesterday concerned about. I worry about Xavier Tillman, what he's going to be in the playoffs. But he's one of those guys, man, whenever the more you count him out, the more it seems like he rises to the occasion. Last night had another productive game. He's definitely a who brought the season candidate. Yesterday, he finished the game with 15 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. Of course, starting the game last night in 30 minutes of play for Xavier Tillman. I'm happy for X, man. I hope that it's because of guys like him that I hope that in the event that you do get a Steven Adams back, he can come in and give you valuable minutes off the bench, I believe, in the playoffs. I don't want him to be my starting center in the playoffs. I think that kind of changes the whole dynamic of who we are and kind of lowers our ceiling. But I am excited to see him play well against the Atlanta Hawks team with John Collins, with Clint Capella. That's a very good front court. Plus the kid, I can't remember his name. The other big that the Hawks have. Okongwu, who's another nice young big that they have. Tillman looked well against those guys, man, and I was impressed by the game he had. What are your thoughts on Xavier Tillman over the last 2 nights and last 2 games, and also what do you see from him with the playoffs? Staring us in the face.
I just think it's his ability to, whether it's been Anthony Davis, Jokic, Embiid, he got there for a stretch, right, filling in for Steven Adams. The dude has the presence of a veteran. It's not every day in the NBA you find a guy as young as Tillman that's willing to accept that for weeks he may be out of the rotation, maybe questioning himself much more with the media, everything else saying, oh, no, he's out of rotation. He's reached his ceiling. He won't contribute to this anymore. For a guy to still be able to be as engaged as him, as locked in as him, that when you're called on, that's what vets do. And so, again, I go back, a point was making that, you know, for as much grief as the Grizzlies have taken, and especially, you know, when Ja went out about not having veterans, man, you've got a young team that set Ja aside, that acts like a bunch of vets, where it is next man up, and the young guys understand that. I can't do anything but salute Xavier Tillman. And I don't worry about, you know, I guess from a standpoint of you don't want him to be a starter if you can avoid it going in the playoffs. You'd much rather have Steven Adams. I mean, last night again, didn't you? You lost the battle of the boards, what, 48-39. Like you're getting worked on the boards without Steven Adams. All that said, yeah, I don't worry about him. What I do is salute him, because when you've needed him, and especially during this regular season, he was a big part of this stabilization, saying with Steven Adams and Ja out, and let's be Brandon Clark too. So the contributions they have needed from him have been triply important. And so again, if it ends up, you know, being outside the rotation or right on the back end of it again in the playoffs because Steven Adams is back, hey, so be it. But you need Xavier Tillmans to get through the year, and I hope, saying that sort of veteran mindset, whether it's with the Grizzlies coming, you know, in years to come or whatever else, serves. That's what's going to keep him in the league, man. A guy that understands that for 2-3 weeks I might not be in, but I got to be ready to go because my numbers call him to be ready. And last night's an opportunity, like I said, 15-8. But he's gone against the best centers in the league too as well this year, and done more than hold his own. So you need guys like him, like Xavier Tillman. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. Hopefully you don't need him as much.
Right, exactly. I woke up yesterday and throughout the day wondering, was there a chance that the Grizzlies would continue to bring Ja Morant off the bench, something they were doing in the first 2 games at Houston. They didn't really leave much to be concerned with that. With Ja Morant coming back to the starting lineup yesterday, what did you think about Ja Morant on the bench? How did in the 2 games we saw that? And what did you think about Ja now sliding over to the starting lineup against Atlanta?
You know, the plan's fine with me. I think initially when we talked bench, we thought, heck, when Dylan Brooks initially broached the subject, we said, this is a joke, right? He said, and Dylan even told him, hell no. But we, you know, realized quickly that, listen, there's still enough time in the season to get enough of a dress rehearsal in with Ja in the starting lineup. And like I mentioned to you last podcast, I thought too, it's whether it's a gesture or whatever else, nice tip of the cap to Tyus Jones, who had been playing so well as a starter, and you ramp him back up. Listen, you know, whether it's been the 2 games we saw him coming off the bench or as a starter, what I've liked is a locked-in Ja. It's looked like a focused Ja. Now, I ain't going to lie to you, Sain. In terms of looking at Ja while he's in game and the focus level, he looked like a locked-in, engaged Ja during the season before, you know, before the Instagram and everything else. But back to the point, you know, I don't know if it'll be anything we see on the court, whether it'll be how he carries himself more so on the road when they're out on these road trips when they hit the playoffs.
Magic City had me scared. Magic City had me scared. I ain't gonna lie.
We'll see. Right. Maybe it's a more business-like approach, but either way, even think, you know, a more locked-in Ja, a Ja who feels like, man, I got to be more dedicated. It's got to only be a good thing for the Grizzlies. So I from what I've seen, it looks the same on the floor, but I'm hoping that clearly a more locked-in Ja and a guy who, listen, he feels like he got this Skip Bayless thing on his back. You saw him the other night with the it's a parade inside my city. Yeah. He's feeling good. Yeah. And I think along with that feeling good and comfortability has come some focus, hopefully.
There's been a little frustration. I've seen a little kickback from the fans saying that just kind of, you know, looking for things to kind of dissect or whatever about this win streak and about Ja's return. People were saying they would like to see Ja be more forward thinking as far as getting Jaren involved. And they said in the 4th quarter, they wish that Jaren had gotten more shots. Jaren only took 10 shots total in the game against the Hawks. I was just kind of throw out my, you know, 2 cents on that whole situation. Sure, in the perfect world, it'd be great if Ja and Jaren did have that 2-man game. But with the way Jaren is scoring in the area he's scoring in, he's the only guy who scores like that. That's not a pick. It's not a screen threat. Like, he doesn't set screens at all for Ja. and he's not a good screen setter, period. You know what I mean? So that's still a work in progress as far as getting that going.
Right,
I think
yeah,
it's probably,
not gonna come together during a regular season.
I don't think that's something you're going to be able to fix immediately to get that two-man game going, because every player that Josh had a two-man game with is involved in pick and roll, pick and pop, something, whether it's Brandon Clark, whether it's Jonas Valanciunas, whether it's Steven Adams. All those guys that he was developing that chemistry with is because that guy was setting screens. And Jaren is a terrible screen setter. And he has so many problems setting picks and getting offensive fouls. You don't want to blow him blowing any fouls on those type of things. So I just think it's a matter of time. And I think you'll see those guys get cooking, as time goes on. You guys, of course, are listening to Grind Season with Anthony Sain and Jason Smith here on the free Audacy app or wherever you listen to podcasts. First segment, we talked about the last two games that the Grizzlies had since the last time we recorded, some of the sights and sounds of those games. Now we will move on. We will ask the question, are the Grizzlies fine in the West? And we will take a look at some of the playoff possibilities. The Grizzlies, as we said, are sitting not super firm, but, they're not on shaky ground, really. They're sitting at second in the West, 2 games ahead of the Sacramento Kings, with about 8 games to go. 8 games to go. The Grizzlies approach another 50-win season, which is an exciting thing to see. I'm going to say this. I'm going to assume that the Grizzlies will hold on to that 2-game lead over Sacramento, and they will be in second place. We'll just talk about from that point of view. I think that's a good place to be. You avoid the Golden State Warriors first round, which you may want first round. I don't know. I feel like if Golden State is able to hold on and stay in 6th place, that means they probably did pretty good down the stretch. So I don't know if you want to see them or not. But being in that second place spot, you will play the winner of the 7-8 game in the West. And right now, the 7th place team is Minnesota. 8th place is New Orleans. And I'll say this as far as the play-in is concerned. Every year there's been a lot of controversy about the play-in. About a couple years ago, well, in the bubble, it was Memphis. The people like Memphis has played. They've been in this spot the entire season. Now the play-in is going to mess them up as far as getting to the playoffs. I can't remember who it was the year before, year after that. I don't think it was many complaints that year at all. But last year was Minnesota. Remember, Minnesota was in 7th place, but they were a ways ahead of the Clippers. And people were saying it's unfair that Minnesota may not make the playoffs if they lose this one play-in game. This year's play-in is going to be hella fun because everybody's like within a half game or a game with each other. It's going to have an NCAA tournament feel almost, where it's win or get in. And all those teams are going to be jumbled up close in the standings. So I think this is going to be exciting as hell. But if things in the way they are now, you've got it's crazy because Phoenix is in 4th, but they're only a game and a half ahead of Minnesota, who's in 7th. So you could have a team like Phoenix, if they go on a losing streak, they could be the team that the Grizzlies get in the 7-8 play-in win. It's so hard to really talk about possibilities because there's so many teams that are within range. But if Minnesota takes on New Orleans, we would get the winner of that game, like I said. A possible rematch against the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round, which I would definitely be down with. I think that in a playoff scenario, there will be a fun playoff series and one when I think that would be easy for us to win. I personally would love to see New Orleans. I'm a big fan of those Southern rivalries, man, with the Pelicans and the Hawks. I've been trying to manifest those rivalries for years now. I think that Pelicans team, I think it could be. Listen to this poetic justice, Jason Smith. Let's assume that you get the New Orleans Pelicans in the first round, right? In the 2 versus play-in winner game. And you beat the New Orleans Pelicans. The New Orleans Pelicans team who, in this run of Ja Morant, a team who's kind of had your number a lot, who had the Zion thing and all the pumping by the NBA to push them forward and all those type of things. Imagine if that's the team you beat in the first round. You beat that ghost. Then the second round, the Golden State Warriors beat the Sacramento Kings, and then you kill that ghost in the second round. And then looking down at the second half of the play-in, the Los Angeles Lakers come out of the play-in, and they beat the Denver Nuggets. That's the most. And then you end up getting the Lakers in the conference finals, and you beat the ghost of the Pelicans. You beat the ghost of the Warriors. You beat LeBron James, the King, and Anthony Davis, and you put them up out of there, and then you go to the NBA Finals. What more of a storybook path could you see for your Memphis Grizzlies, Jason?
You might as well, with the way you talking, you might as well put the championship on there too. Just put
just go ahead and throw the championship, man.
Man, go and put the Cleveland Cavaliers in the championship so Memphis can win it. No, I mean,
you pick a stab, get them some of that ass whooping, man.
The Golden State one is the one for me. Listen, I don't. If you go rewinding back to Minnesota or the Pelicans, I would much rather see the Pelicans than Minnesota. To be honest, because there weren't just stretches. There were games where Minnesota was better than you in that series.
Yeah,
you came out of it with the win.
What you think was Patrick Beverley though, bro?
A lot, because I think he had Anthony Edwards in a certain kind of mindset. He had Anthony Edwards playing well in that. I can't give Pat Bev too much more credit than that. I mean, there were a couple of games there. I guess the way he's playing Ja, but I don't think he's.
They don't have Vanderbilt either, though. Vanderbilt was real intimidating.
Yeah, some of that glue is gone. You're right. Right.
They're just having Gobert and Cat. We don't know how that's going. We've seen when they were together, it sucked. I don't know.
I know how bad Anthony Edwards wants it against the Grizzlies, and I'd much rather have a team that hasn't done it yet in the playoffs. The Pelicans, again, Minnesota just reminds me of the edge I thought for Memphis last year was the fact that you had played Utah the year before. You had an edge on them in terms of being there. And it matters so much because you find out saying how much that pace slows down in the playoffs, and each possession matters more. So I just think Minnesota is closer to a point where they're more of a threat. Even just now getting back Karl Anthony Towns, I just like them better without D'Angelo up in there as well. So anyway, we'll see what happens. I will say this. Yeah, man, you bring up a dream road. If you can get Golden State in that second round, I just like the Grizzlies' chances because of the home court advantage there.
Yeah,
they have been so bad on the road. I know they've gotten a couple of late, but the Grizzlies are literally the best team at home this year. Has been such an advantage for them. Man, you could exercise that demon against Golden State. It feels like that kind of momentum, man, that kind of gas in your tank, beating Golden State, that kind of confidence, bro, that would come with that. You figure this team, it might propel them to something special where maybe they are, whether it's the Lakers in your crazy scenario or the Denver Nuggets, you might feel like maybe that kind of confidence can propel you to winning to getting through in the West rather than just getting there, maybe even getting to a final. So
now I'm gonna tell you a team I don't want to see in the first round, and I'm hoping the standings stay the way they are. Not because I don't think we could beat them, but just because I know the BS is going to come with having to play them. I hope the Lakers stay in that 9-10 game.
Yeah.
So Denver can deal with them. I think the Lakers will get Denver up out of here too. Just to be honest with you. But I don't want to deal with the Lakers, man, because there's no way that the NBA is going to let LeBron get booted out in the first round. Like that just ain't happening, man. Like not with this team.
If you touch Anthony Davis, the man might be out for the rest of the series.
Yeah, that's another good point. That's another good point. I would love. You talk about dream runs. That would be a nice run, man. If you put out the King, then you get Steph and them, then you get Denver with the probably 3-time MVP. That would be a hell of a run too. But it's crazy that we're sitting here, especially me, man, because I was done. I was done with these dudes. They were because this Grizzlies team, man, looks like a team that's ready to compete. A lot of odds are saying that we, are predicting us to come out in the West. These type of things, we're playing very good basketball right now. And if you get Steven Adams back, man, I think it makes this team, that much better. Desmond Dane is crunk up. Luke Kennard is playing hella good. Jaren, of course, Ja's back. If you can mess around and get Steven Adams back, man, you're a team ready to compete.
Listen, I went back and looked at last year. Last year, they went into the playoffs, the regular season. They were 4th in the league in offense. Like, it was a lot more efficient. And I still think, Steven Adams, particularly the second and third chance, like what they're missing there from the boards, like that can help take them. Listen, I say Kennard has helped that offense. When you have another shooter, whether it's half court, whatever else, he's helped. But it's still missing. So they're not nearly as efficient as they were last season. It's jumped up. You were low teens. You're up to 11. But last year you were 4th in the league defensively. Last year I say to this context. Last year we were talking about a team that was challenging for top 5 on both sides. It was 6th in defense, 4th in offense. This year you've got the defensive side. You've done that now even without Steven Adams, but and he would help that because he's helping finish off defensive possessions. He would help your defense even more. Maybe you go from 3-1, but back to that point, that offense has still got it. Ain't you're not done. This is not a finished product whatsoever. I'm saying all that to say that you were. It's still a work in progress, even with the improvement. To get back to where you were last year from an efficiency standpoint going into the playoffs.
Right, for sure. I definitely agree. I'm looking forward to it. 8 more games. I'm ready to get these regular season games out of the way, Jason Smith. I'm ready for that playoff atmosphere to come to Memphis. See if we have Steven Adams back with us or not. But it's definitely going to be fun. It's going to be rocking here in the city of Memphis to see if we are indeed fine in the West. You guys are, of course, listening to the Grind Season Podcast. Anthony Sain and Jason Smith. Final segment of the show. Remember, of course, to continue to share the show, listen, subscribe, watch us on YouTube, subscribe to Audacy Sports, where you can watch us there on that channel. Final segment of the show, Who Brought the SZNing, where we tell you who brought it since the last time we talked. Jason Smith, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take this one first, and I'm gonna hand it off to you. I'm gonna use you in this story I'm about to tell, Jason Smith. And I'm not gonna do a seasoning, Jason Smith. This young man, since we are inviting him, he is a first timer. I'm gonna name a food that normally requires some type of seasoning or some type of addition to it, because it's really not the best tasting thing by itself. You got to add some butter, some cheese, some sour cream, some chives, some bacon. Mashed potatoes is what I'm going to talk about, Jason Smith. And this brother kind of reminds you of mashed potatoes for several reasons.
I'm an expert on mashed potatoes.
Yeah, we had this discussion about Thanksgiving when we were talking about dishes that belong in a black Thanksgiving or a white Thanksgiving. Jason Smith, you are, of course, a biracial brother. You have experienced both worlds. You talked about how your Thanksgiving dinner looked a little different than mine because you had food like
white people Thanksgiving at my mom.
Yeah, it was kind of a blending of the two, man. Well, you know, because in the black people home, you might have spaghetti, lasagna, all kind of stuff going on. You know, ham, turkey.
But I found out no mashed potatoes.
No, we do not do the mashed potatoes.
Right, not in your. Right.
So the brother I'm about to talk about today, he gets more than seasoning. I'm gonna give him an entire side dish because we are making this brother welcome in the team. We are inviting him to the black dinner table. Mashed potatoes. This young brother is Luke Kennard. You can call him Nasty Nardo. That's the name I like to call him.
Nasty Nardo. I like that one the best.
My boy at Grit Grind on Twitter came up with the name Nasty Nardo. Of course, you all know Nasty Nardo from the Memphis song, Don't Watch Me, Watch TV. And that's the connection I have with Nasty Nardo. You might want to call him Nuke Kennard. You might want to call him Cool Hand Luke, Hot Hand Luke, or whatever the stuff they're talking about today. You might want to go with any of those nicknames, but I'm going to call him by his government name, Luke Kennard, today. Speaking of Luke Kennard, my son played a 3rd grade game today, and there was this kid that was dressed almost like Luke Kennard dresses, a white kid. This dude was shooting like 3-point jump shots off the dribble in a 3rd grade game. I was like, damn, we got Luke Kennard Jr. here. Shout out to Luke Kennard. 10 3-pointers the other night, 4 3-pointers the other night. That's easy math. That's 7 3-pointers averaging per game over the last 2. 30 points the other night, 10 of 11 from 3.
Unbelievable.
That's
set the franchise record with the 10 threes.
Yeah, they ain't even been here a season. You know what I mean? Unbelievable game-changing player in Luke Kennard. The guy, if he can knock down those kind of shots or at least make teams defend him just while he's on the court to make those type of shots, makes things so much easier. I could just see Mike Breen going crazy with Luke Kennard out there with the bangs in the playoffs for sure. I can't wait. I haven't heard a Grizzlies bang yet. It seems like it's always been us on the receiving end of the bangs. But I think with Luke Kennard has a bang, I'm ready to get some bangage going on in the playoffs for sure. But Luke Kennard gets my season, knocking down 14 threes over the past 2 games. Phenomenal stretch for him for sure.
No, I mean, I would just echo that. So he's got a big old bowl of mashed potatoes that you have given him, and I'm giving him a big old bowl of Memphis white sauce. As you know, saying that's what goes on top of the fire braised chicken sandwich.
Yeah, it Tops Barbecue.
Tops Barbecue here in Memphis. 17 locations here in this area. The Memphis white sauce, though, is Think about what he's got in front of him right now with the big thing of mashed potatoes. He could put the Memphis white sauce on top of the mashed potatoes.
Yeah, I was tasting it. I was seeing it in my head when you said it. Yeah,
it's a unique flavor. A lot of folks from Alabama will tell you they're the key. You know, they were the originators of the white sauce, but we have taken it here in Memphis and over at Tops, and I want to pour it all over those mashed potatoes.
Yeah, man,
a nice big plate of that white, a whole white. The whole thing is white.
Extremely white. The white
sauce on top of basically white potatoes. And it
might be the whitest dude in the NBA. So
it will be so filling because he has suited right because fittingly he's been filling it up for the Grizzlies. Sain said it 14 threes, 44 points. The more Luke Kennard you can pour on it right now, the better it is with his shoot. 54% Sain from three since he's been a Grizzly.
That's insane. That's crazy.
51 threes in 18 games as a Grizzly, 59 and 35 as a Clipper. So he's only 8 threes off what he made in 35 games as a Clipper. He's more the rotation guy here, but you're getting more minutes and you're getting a more efficient Luke Kennard than we saw with the Clippers. It's been a fantastic addition to the team. You got to tip your cap. And you said it when they got him. Like as much as we were clamoring for them to do something, you said, I like the Kennard move. And it's paid off for him.
Yeah, for sure, man. And just like that white sauce at Tops Barbecue, we weren't ready for it. We didn't know what it was going to taste like. We was like, why do we even need this? Like, what is this? Why are they calling this Memphis white sauce? I ain't never seen this in my life. But it's grown on us. It hit right with that chicken sandwich at Tops Barbecue. Yeah, man.
Conchar could not supply it, saying somebody else had to supply that Memphis beef. You wear that Memphis white sauce, and thank goodness Kennard has done that.
Yeah, man. We tried it. And see, unlike John Conchar, who's trying to force his way to the barbecue with the sleeves and the haircut.
He used to be there. Some of y'all had already had him, but you put him out.
Yeah, I had to kick him out, man. I even kicked him out of the white basketball player Hall of Fame. He had to get up out of here, man.
Wow.
His spot has been taken away. Matter of fact, when I come on you guys' show Friday, it's time for a new induction, man. We'll do that. We'll induct.
You need to get Conchar a hoodie that says redemption on it.
Yeah, white redemption. Hey, we gonna induct John Conchar Friday for sure, though, man. White basketball player Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be Friday's show. But yeah, but that ends grind season for this week. We appreciate you guys. Continue to follow us on Twitter at Grind Season Pod. You see it right here at the bottom of the screen. Check that out. We appreciate you guys coming in with us today. Continue to listen to us on the free Audacy app or wherever you listen to podcasts. Jason Smith, hold on. I got to show you something, bro. I don't think you got one of these, Jason Smith. Hold on.
Now you messed when you did that background move.
Yeah, I disappeared. Did you get one of these in the mail today? Did you get?
Oh,
it ain't even showing.
I gotta see it now. What is that? That's that?
Audacy backpack. You can't see it because it's blending in. But Audacy sent me. Come on, man. Get official, Jason Smith. Get official, man. What you waiting on to be official?
Oh, I don't even think I've gotten a check from Audacy. from them. I need to get in touch because I see you getting. I think you're getting all the checks and the gifts, bro.
Think I'm getting all the hours, huh? Yeah. There it is, man. But yeah,
I think it looks good, man. It looks good on you, and especially that with that new background you've got. I'm gonna try to get with you in Audacy and see if I can get me a new background in a backpack.
Yeah, man. Come on, man. Get together, man.
All right, brother.
But we appreciate you guys once again.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys once again. For Jason Smith, this is Anthony Sain. Y'all keep grinding.